Okay, so now I'm going to do a plant hanger. So I'm going to pull this twine. So I want it to be fairly long. So I'm going to make them all the same.
Hey y'all, so this is just me getting things set up, getting all the strings the right size. It takes a few minutes, but if you go back and forth, it actually works out really well when you do it that way, because then they're all actually the same size. I did a total of 9 strings.
Okay, so I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 strands. So I have 9 strands, all the same length, and I just went back and forth to measure them. So now I'm gonna cut the excess. I'm gonna tie it on one side, leaving the loops there. I'm not cutting out the loops that I put in the ends. So I'm gonna tie it here. Then I'm going to put the loops onto this hook. You can put it on a closed door handle or have somebody hold it for you. Now, the opposite ends, you want to pull it taut and then snip the ends so they're open. Okay, so I'll have to do that. Okay, got one more to do. Alright, so we have 9 strands in total. So we're going to divide them up in 3. 1, 2, 3. So you're going to braid each section. So try not to tangle them. So outside over the middle strand, outside over the middle strand, and you're going to try to keep it as tight as you can. And I'm going to go down a fair amount before I do the base piece for the plant. So it would be good to have something to hold it in place, trying to pull out your tangles as you go. So I'll grab a piece of wire, since I'm already in the greenhouse, in order to do this, so I can hold it in place. So I have this strand here, and I don't know, 6 inches maybe of...
So here I start looking for something to tie off the braid, just so it doesn't come loose while I'm trying to do the other braids. Just know that you can really use anything to tie it off. I mean, if I was in the house, I probably would have used a chip clip in order to tie it off. But this is a really super simple DIY that you can do even if you're not a crafty person, as long as you can figure out the braid part. If you do need any instruction on how to do the braid, it's actually not that difficult. You can easily Google a video for it. I don't have one up just yet on how to do a simple braid, but my daughter is a hairdresser, so I would love to actually do a demo with her to show you how to do it.
Okay, so all 3 same length are braided. So now here's 2 choices. You can either go and tie this off and then do the next part, or you can take the strands here. I'm gonna go behind the camera here. You can take the strands, I'll undo this one, off. So I'm going to take 1 strand from this one, 2 strands from this one, and I'm going to tie it. And there we have a knot. Okay, so these 2 strands are going to go with a single strand on the last braid. So obviously you're going to try to grab the strand that's closest to what you're tying. So then it's 2 strands from this one, 1 strand from this one. So I'm going to take them and I'm going to tie it. Okay. Now I do recommend trying to make them a little bit looser than what I'm doing right now, because it's actually probably going to be too tight. Maybe not. Depending on how much further down that you want to do the braid and how big your pot is. So I'm going to take 2 from this one and the 1 from the very first one. Oh, I gotta do this a lot looser. Let me back up. Okay. A lot looser. Just like that. Because this is the section that your actual pot's going to sit in. And you got to kind of measure it up with the pot that you're actually going to put into it. Okay, so see how it's starting to make a pattern? Okay, so then I'm going to take the last one and I'm going to put the knot in the same place that the first 2 were. And you want to pull it down and measure it up with the other 2 so it actually sits at the same spot. Okay, so from here, okay, you can do one of 2 things. You can continue on and do this a few more times. Depending on how big your pot is, will depend on how many times you can do this. So what I'm going to do is, because first I'm going to show you. This is my pot. These were hung up on a post in my backyard as birdhouses. The birds never used them, so I decided that I'm going to make them into flower pots. So I put a little bit of dirt in there. This one here, because it's going to have no drainage, I will put some succulents into it. But, so I need to make mine a little bit deeper. Not a lot. But then I'm going to take a single strand from this one. Now you're below the knot. And 2 strands from the next one. And I'm not going to make this one as long. I'm going to make it a little bit shorter. And I'm going to tie. Because I really want this to cradle the teapot. So make sure when you tie the knot that you put it down. And that's why you're hanging it on a hook or having someone hold it. So that way you can get it taut and get it at the length you want. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side with the other strands. And now this is just basic twine, so honestly this is not going to last, like, if you have it outside, a super crazy long period of time, but it will do for a season for sure. Okay, and now I put my last one in. Alright, so as you can see, it's almost like a netting. So now what I'm going to do is about 1 inch below that last knot, I'm going to do another knot. And this one's going to be harder because it's all 9 strands again. And you're going to make sure you fish through all the ends. Oh, I missed 2. Alright, see what I'm doing here? So you got to make sure all the ends are through the knot. And then you're going to pull it down about 2 inches below that last knot there. And then you're going to pull it tight. And pull it tight. So now, to finish it off, it's all up to you how you want to do it. Some people, like, I'm going to trim it for sure to keep it nice and neat. It depends on the person. Some people don't want it nice and neat, but I'm going to trim it. Okay, so I'm going to trim it. And what you can do is also, depending on the string that you use, you can unravel it to kind of give it that pom-pom look. So it has more strings and more strands. So I'm going to do this really quickly. I'm only going to separate it twice. You can separate each single individual piece of twine. They are approximately 4 to 6 strands. I'm just going to do a real quick pull here, because usually if you just take it and pull, you usually get it separated enough where you can pull the base down. Just so I can show you guys what it looks like. Okay, so you kind of get the idea that it gets more and more fluffier and fluffier as you go. I'll show you once I do complete it, but then some of these are longer than others. You could tie it. I'm actually just going to leave it because I just don't want it aesthetically to change, because I like how it is now. And then all you do is, well, if I had a hook to hang it on that was tall enough, or not too tall like it is right now in here, you can slide in your pot. Okay, like so. Oh, whoops. The lid on the other side. So I want it to sit. It's a lot easier to do this if it's hanging when you do it. Okay, so in actuality, it's going to take me a little bit here. Gotta get this over the, there we go. I think that'll do it. Because if it's hanging, you can see where it's positioned, and then you can adjust it much easier. Currently, I cannot hang it. So I made this one a little bit too small for the teapot. So what I'm going to do is grab one of my other teapots to show you how to set it in there. Give me just a second. So I grabbed this one. It's a much smaller teapot, and I want to slide this down. And obviously it's too big for this one, so that won't work. And let's try this one. It's really better if you hang it from the ceiling, so you can actually really see how big you need to make it. And test as you go to see how big it needs to be for the pot that you're putting into it. I didn't do that, therefore that's why I'm having this problem. Now, that looks kind of horrible, mind you, because it's the wrong size pot yet again. Let me see if I can find a pot that actually will fit in there. Oops, cord. Okay, so this is one of my second plants that got a little bit damaged in transition outside. So this pot, oh, doesn't quite fit, but you get the idea a lot better with this one, and I just knocked off another leaf. All right, so you get the idea. This is how you want it to look, where the pot fits in nice. Basically what I did was I didn't make it wide enough, and I didn't make it shallow enough for the pot, but I will have use for it for a different pot, or I can untie it and go ahead and change the amount of knots and where the knots are. Beauty of it is you can change it. So if you want to make macrame hanger for your yard, your house, or even use ribbon if you want to. Any cording works. A lot of different things could be used, even hemp.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is the final product. I ended up not putting succulents in it. I ended up just putting some spider plants in it for now and hung it outside. Unfortunately, it's not really super sunny because it was near the end of the day. But I really like how it turned out. I may not keep that specific pot in there. It is wet, so it doesn't look as fluffy on the tassel as it normally would. The teapot I'm actually going to use for a different project that I will be doing at Garden and Decorate with me for next week's Thursday's video. But I do have another pot that I would like to put in here, and then I have to figure out exactly where I'm going to hang it. If you guys liked the video, feel free to like it and subscribe so that way you can see the next one. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope this inspired you to do something different at your house. If you want any more ideas or have some ideas you want me to try, feel free to comment below with those ideas. As always, thanks for watching and see you next time.